Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Omani medical team in Royal Hospital succeeds in carrying out a complicated heart surgery using modern treatment techniques. Daesh militants seize Iraq's largest dam north of Mosul as 60 Daesh militants were killed in airstrikes. And a new Israeli raid on Syrian-controlled territory in the Golan Heights kills 5 people. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. An Omani medical team at the Royal Hospital was able to use modern treatment techniques for narrowing the gap of coronary tract to the heart of a patient who suffers from arterial fibrillation. The new technique is based on implanting a stopper at the patient's left atrium to narrow the gap, where the trial fibrillation imposes the patient to take blood-thinning drugs, retarded blood pellets, which boost the flow of blood in the patient's body. The medical cadre suggested to proceed with this treatment. The new technique formed in a therapeutic catheter for the patient by inserting a flexible tube through the vein from the right thigh to reach the heart and then passes through a gap between the right and left artery of the heart, where the medical cadre implement the stopper at the side of the left atrium. And with the government's concern of health sector, the hospitals are able to achieve a leap in therapeutic means and inserting medical techniques, in addition to implementing complicated surgeries by Omani physicians and cadres. This surgery came as a success for Omani expertise in this field because this kind of therapeutic catheter is usually conducted in countries of advanced medical services since it needs comprehensive medical cadres. Before this surgery, Omani medical cadres performed complicated surgeries in the hospitals of the Sultanate, namely transplant of industrial heart, removal of bloody thrombus from the arterial lining of general pulmonary artery and the right artery, the surgery of stem cells transplant, and transplant of cochlea minor for Omani child. After its first and second stops in Muscat and Sour, the work of the youth camp in the governorate of North Baltana concludes with the participation of 100 youth from various governorates of the Sultanate. The camp aimed to grant the participants with knowledge and skills, in addition to refining their personalities for work and becoming able to hold responsibilities towards society through a number of activities and programs. The camp included training workshops in the field of fine arts, photography, sculpturing, and technique works, in addition to lectures and business contributed to uplifting their skills. It also included training workshops in the field of palm frond industry, woods, electricity, and plumbing. Officials said today that militants have seized Iraq's largest dam north of their hub of Mosul, giving them control over the supply of water and electricity for a vast area. The head of the Provincial Council of Nineveh, of which Mosul is a capital, confirmed that Daesh group had captured the dam yesterday. Meanwhile, 45 Daesh insurgents were killed in 2 airstrikes in Al-Sharqat, south of Mosul, and Balad, south of Tikrit in southern Iraq. The military source added that the Air Force, in coordination with the military intelligence, dealt another effective blow to Daesh group in Balad, south of Tikrit, killing 15 militants and destroying 3 vehicles belonging to them. A new Israeli raid on Syrian-controlled territory in the Golan Heights killed at least 5 people today, describing the dead as unarmed civilians. An Israeli military source said the strikes targeted the militants who fired rockets into Israel yesterday. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights also confirmed 5 people had been killed. Today's strikes came after Israel said it had hit at least 14 Syrian army positions in the Golan Heights in response to the rocket fire on the Galilee region in northern Israel. The Golan Heights plateau is divided between Israeli and Syrian control. Israel seized 1,200 square kilometers of the plateau from Syria in the 1967 Middle East War and annexed it 14 years later. North Korea leader Kim Jong-un ordered his troops into a war footing from 5 p.m. today after his government issued an ultimatum to Seoul to halt anti-Pyongyang propaganda broadcast by tomorrow afternoon or face military action. Tension escalated yesterday when North Korea fired 4 shells into South Korea, according to Seoul, in apparent protest against the anti-North broadcast. The South fired back 29 artillery shells. Both sides said there were no casualties or damage in their territory. The renewed hostility is a further blow to South Korean President Park Geun-hye's efforts to improve North-South ties, which have been virtually frozen since the deadly 2010 sinking of a South Korean Navy ship, which Seoul blames on Pyongyang. Park canceled an event today and made a visit to a military command post. One Syrian migrant drowned and another is missing after a boat carrying 12 Syrians to the Greek island of Kos sank off coast Turkey's holiday resort of Bodrum today. 10 migrants survived after some swam to the beach and others were rescued by local people and coast guards. The route from Turkey has become the main gateway to Europe, according to Frontex, the EU border management agency. A record of 49,550 migrants reached the EU via Greece in July, more than in all of 2014. The relatively calm waters of the Aegean Sea and its islands offer a safer passage than the route from North Africa to Italy, where most of the 2,000-plus migrants who have drowned so far in 2015 have died. Still to come in our news bulletin. Typhoon Goni approaches the Philippine highland town of Itagon. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Oman oil price October delivery reached $45.77. Dubai Mercantile Exchange said today that the price of Oman oil declined 83 cents from the price of yesterday. The average price of Oman oil September delivery has stabilized at $56.33, thus $5.51 per barrel lower than August delivery 2015. World stock markets tumbled toward their worst week of the year today, and commodities got another kicking as more alarming data from China sent investors scurrying to the safety of bonds and gold. Meanwhile, Japan's Nikkei fell below the 20,000 mark for a fourth consecutive day today, to 3.5-month closing low on yet more signs of deceleration in the Chinese economy. The Nikkei share average closed down 3%, its lowest weekly close since May 8th. The biggest weekly decline since April 2014. Shares in major Japanese exporters were also hard hit as the yen strengthened against the dollar. Slowdown in China came as Japan's own economy also stagnated, with April-June GDP contracting an unrealized 1.6% due to the weak domestic demand. China's stock markets tanked more than 4% today, taking weekly losses for the main indexes to nearly 12% and casting doubt over Beijing's ability to prevent another bout of panic selling as the market neared collapse again. Signs China's slowdown is getting worse and weak growth in Europe have further damaged the outlook for the global economy, sending stocks and commodity prices reeling today. China's vast factory sector shrank at its fastest rate in almost 6.5 years in August, a private survey showed, pushing investors who fear China's staggering economy will translate into slower global growth to take refuge in gold and bonds. World markets had already been on edge after China's surprise devaluation of the yuan last week and a near collapse in its stock markets in early summer. 2 people were killed while thousands were evacuated as powerful Typhoon Goni approached the Philippines and Taiwan today. In the Philippine highland town of Itagon, 2 construction workers died after a landslide buried their roadside tent in rocks and mud. In Taiwan, 1,700 tourists were evacuated from the outlying Green and Orchid Islands as early as yesterday, while offices were shut down. The storm, the 7th to enter the Philippines this year, packs maximum sustained winds of 170 kilometers per hour, with gusts of up to 205 kilometers per hour. The Philippines is hit by an average of 20 typhoons a year, many of them deadly. Taiwan, meanwhile, is still reeling from Typhoon Sodeler, which left 12 people dead or missing and caused widespread damage when it hit 2 weeks ago. The government of the FAR is not only mesmerizing the tourists with its greenish sceneries and drizzles, but also the local fashion designers enchanted their audience with their beautiful designs at a fashion show, especially styled it as part of the Salala Kharif season. Our reporter Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubai is with the highlights of the colorful event.
Salala Fashion Show, organized as part of Salala Kharif Festival 2015, was conducted at Rotana Hotel in Salala under the auspices of Sayyida Sana bint Hamad Al Busaidiya, with attendance of women from inside and outside Oman. The show, which has been directed by Nada Al Ward Designing Center, is been participated by 5 young Omani designers from 4 designing centers. Al-Farasha for both Amal and Lina Al-Ghassani, Lovely for Sana Al-Marhoon, Al-Wafia Al-Uliqi, and Dar Al-Rawa for Muna Al-Shamfari. All of these young Omani designers in their work have carefully maintained well Omani women traditional dress with a bit of modern touch. Nada will tell us more.
This event is about the girls here in Salala, the designers, who want to be famous, want to be achieving their career in the fashion world. So they are here. We want to make them happy with this event of designing, and they are amazing. They had their style, their way to do their fashion, and I like it.
The designers have displayed models with a total of 48 designs. All designs are distinguished from other. The designs are characterized by luxury and sophistication, along with convenience and freedom of movement to suit the atmosphere of the season, with combination of beautiful color, including accessory that meant to maintain the Omani dress tradition. For Salala Festival 2015, I'm Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television, Salala, Governorate of the FAR.
Now for the general weather forecast. Cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas and the nearby mountains of the Governorate of the FAR, with chances of intermittent drizzle. The rest of the Sultanate will have clear to partly cloudy skies with chances of cloud accumulation and scattered rainfall over the Hajar Mountains and the nearby areas. Winds will be southwesterly moderate to active along the coast of the Arabian Sea, while it will be southeasterly light to moderate in the rest of the Sultanate. Seas along the coast of the Arabian Sea will be rough with a maximum wave height of 3.5 meters, and for the rest of the coast it will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Omani medical team in Royal Hospital succeeds in carrying out complicated heart surgery using modern treatment techniques. Daesh militants seized Iraq's largest dam north of Mosul as 60 Daesh militants were killed in airstrikes. And a new Israeli raid on Syrian-controlled territory in the Golan Heights kills 5 people. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.